Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Canada Daily Updates. Today's video is about Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, AAIP, major changes for 2023-25. We will also discuss about 3 AAIP streams, new updates in AAIP, easy PR options, how to apply, and eligibility criteria. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, please stay tuned because you're in the right place. So, if you're ready to dive in, let's get started. To begin with, here are some updates related to Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. 1. Dedicated Healthcare Pathway. This pathway operates under the Alberta Express Entry Stream, and will use up to 30% of available Express Entry allocations in 2023. Physicians, registered nurses, nurse practitioners, licensed practical nurses, physician assistants, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, psychologists, and clinical social workers are eligible. Eligible healthcare professionals must have an Alberta job offer with an employer in the healthcare sector in Alberta, and must have verifiable proof of meeting the minimal requirements prescribed by the applicable regulatory organization to be able to practice in Alberta. 2. AAIP Rural Entrepreneur Stream, Minimum Investment Criteria. Minimum investment required by applicants has been reduced from $200,000 to $100,000, which is more comparable and competitive with other entrepreneur streams. 3. AAIP Rural Renewal Stream. Removal of Settlement Organization Endorsement Letter in Community Designation Application Process. This removal streamlines the community designation application process. Communities are still required to complete a settlement plan as part of the designation application process to demonstrate adequate supports are in place to effectively welcome newcomers. 4. Economic Mobility Pathways Pilot, EMPP. The AAIP will now participate in the EMPP. The EMPP was developed to help refugees with the skills and qualifications needed in Canada to immigrate through existing economic programs. The AAIP is working with the federal government to implement the pilot and supplement its annual nominations through this unique opportunity. More details on implementation will be available in the coming months. AAIP has 3 streams. 1. Alberta Opportunity Stream. 2. Alberta Express Entry Stream. 3. Rural Renewal Stream. Today, we will mostly be discussing the Alberta Opportunity Stream. This stream is not only the easiest way to obtain permanent residency, but also has very low requirements. Alberta Opportunity Stream. The Alberta Opportunity Stream is for temporary foreign workers who are already working full-time in Alberta and have a full-time job offer from an Alberta employer in an eligible occupation. Candidates must have a positive labor market impact assessment or hold one of the accepted LMIA exemption work permits. Candidates must also meet other minimum eligibility criteria for residency and work permit type, occupation, language, education, Alberta job offer and work experience. Recent changes. On September 28, 2022, religious worker and clergy occupations became eligible for the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program's 3 streams for workers. At the time your application is submitted, and at the time the AAIP assesses your application, you must have a valid temporary resident status in Canada that authorizes you to work in Canada, that is, a temporary foreign worker permit. NOC 2021 Update, Labor Market Impact Assessment, LMIA, based work permits issued under NOC 2016 version continued to be accepted by the AAIP. Eligible applicants. At the time your application is submitted, and at the time the AAIP assesses your application, you must have a valid work permit, not status maintained during processing, formally implied status, or restoration status. Valid work permits are based on one of the following: a positive labor market impact assessment, a LMIA exemption for workers based on one of the following exemptions as determined by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, international trade agreements, workers transferred within a company, International Experience Canada, Mobility Francophone, R205D for religious work, a post-graduation work permit, PGWP, held by a graduate of an Alberta Advanced Education publicly funded post-secondary institution. PGWP holders must also meet specific occupation, education and work experience requirements as set out below. An open work permit issued under one of IRCC's open work permit public policies. Temporary policy changes to the Post-Graduation Work Permit Program, PGWPP. Permit must be held by a graduate of an Alberta Advanced Education publicly funded post-secondary institution. Holders of this open work permit must also meet the same specific occupation, education and work experience requirements. An open work permit issued under IRCC's Ukraine Immigration Measures, also known as the Canada-Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel. Ineligible applicants. The following individuals cannot apply for or be nominated under the Alberta Opportunity Stream. Refugee claimants or individuals involved in a federal appeal or removal process. The AAIP does not intervene in the federal refugee claim, appeal or removal process. Temporary residents living or working in a province or territory of Canada other than Alberta. Foreign nationals living or working in Canada who do not have valid temporary resident status. Eligible occupations. At the time your application is submitted, and at the time the AAIP assesses your application, you must work in an eligible occupation in Alberta. Occupation requirements also apply to your work experience and job offer. You must review the work experience criteria and eligible job offer criteria sections below for details. The occupation you are working in at the time your application is submitted is your current occupation. Most occupations under National Occupational Classification, NOC, skill levels 0, A, B, C and D and NOC categories 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are eligible under the AAIP. Approved Alberta institutions. Your credential must be issued by an Alberta Advanced Education publicly funded post-secondary institution. Eligible Alberta credentials. If you started attending your Alberta Credential Program before April 1, 2019, your credential must be one of the following Alberta Advanced Education approved credentials. Certificate or post-diploma certificate or post-baccalaureate certificate, minimum 1 year in length. Diploma program, minimum 2 years in length. Undergraduate bachelor's degree. Graduate level degree. Graduate level certificate. Graduate level diploma. Work experience requirements. Your current occupation is the occupation you are working in at the time your application is submitted. Your current occupation must also match your work experience at the time your application is submitted and at the time the AAIP assesses your application. Eligible work experience. At the time your application is submitted you must have either a minimum of 12 months full-time work experience in your current occupation in Alberta within the last 18 months, or a minimum of 24 months of full-time work experience in your current occupation in Canada or abroad within the last 30 months or both. This work experience can be a combination of experience gained in Alberta, in Canada, outside Alberta, or abroad. For all applicants, including post-graduation work permit, PGWP, holders, work experience in the qualifying period must have been full-time, for a minimum of 30 hours a week. Must be for the same occupation as your current occupation. Must have been authorized by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada and with valid temporary resident status if completed in Alberta or Canada. Cannot have been gained while studying in Canada and doing co-op work placements or internships as part of a study program, unless you are a PGWP holder who completed during paid co-op work terms as a part of your program of study at an Alberta post-secondary institution. To qualify, the work terms must have been 1. Paid and full-time, minimum 30 hours per week. 2. For work experience directly related to your current occupation. 3. For work experience all gained in Alberta. All applicants, including PGWP holders, must meet the following licensing, registration and certification requirements at the time your application is submitted and the time the AAIP assesses your application. You must have the required licensing, registration or certification to work in your current occupation in Alberta. If you are working in a compulsory trade in Alberta, you must have a valid Alberta Apprenticeship and Industry Trade Recognized Trade Certificate. If you are working as childcare worker, you must have valid certification as a Level 2 Early Childhood Educator, formerly Child Development Worker, or Level 3 Early Childhood Educator, formerly Child Development Supervisor. Eligible job offers. For all applicants, including PGWP holders, at the time your application is submitted, and at the time the AAIP assesses your application, you must have a bona fide full-time job offer or employment contract from an Alberta employer to work in your current occupation in Alberta. Your Alberta employer must be incorporated or registered by or under an act of the legislature of a province, territory, or the Parliament of Canada and operating as a business that has an established production capability, plant or place of business in Alberta. Your job offer or employment contract must be signed by you and your Alberta employer and must offer continuous, paid work. Full-time work, defined as a minimum of 30 hours per week. Employment for 12 months or more. Work in your current occupation. Ineligible applicants based on job offer. The following individuals are not eligible to apply for or be nominated under the Alberta Opportunity Stream, even if they have a job offer to work 30 hours a week or more in a 12-month period. Part-time, casual or seasonal employees, regardless of their working hours. Independent contractors, business owners or temporary agency workers, including individuals listed as directors, shareholders or agents of the Alberta employer on the corporate registry system. Employees who work in Alberta in a place of employment that is not zoned for commercial or industrial operations, such as a home-based business. Employees who do not work on premises in Alberta, such as those who work in a virtual location or serve the employer by telecommuting from a location outside Alberta. Alberta Express Entry Stream. The Alberta Express Entry Stream allows Alberta to nominate a limited number of qualified candidates from Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada's Express Entry System. General Alberta Express Entry Stream. Candidates who have demonstrated strong ties to Alberta or who can help support the government's economic development and diversification priorities may be asked to submit an application. International graduates from Canadian post-secondary institutions may also be asked to apply under this stream. Accelerated Tech Pathway. Under the Alberta Express Entry Stream, candidates may be selected for expedited processing if they are currently working for, or have a job offer with, an Alberta-based tech industry employer in an eligible tech occupation. Application steps. 1. Candidates must have an express entry profile with the Government of Canada to be considered under this stream. Candidates interested in applying under the Accelerated Tech Pathway must send information about their express entry profile and their Alberta employment or job offer with an Alberta tech employer to the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, AAIP, by filling out an online form. All other candidates of the express entry stream must receive a Notification of Interest, NOI, letter from AAIP in their Government of Canada express entry profile. Candidates must email a copy of this NOI letter to the AAIP and state they are interested in applying to the AAIP. 2. The AAIP determines if candidates meet the minimum eligibility criteria to apply. Candidates who meet minimum eligibility criteria will receive an email inviting them to submit an application. 3. Candidates determine if they meet assessment criteria and submit an application. Complete applications go into a pool of eligible applications for consideration for processing. Rural Renewal Stream. The Rural Renewal Stream supports the attraction and retention of newcomers to rural Alberta through a community-driven approach that supports local economic development needs and contributes to the growth of the community. The Rural Renewal Stream empowers rural communities to recruit and retain foreign nationals to live, work and settle in their communities. Communities must apply for and become designated before they can recruit and endorse candidates for the Rural Renewal Stream. Candidates with an endorsement of candidate letter from a designated community can apply using the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program portal. And that's a wrap on today's video. If you have any questions or comments about this topic, feel free to leave comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.